Hi, I'm Dave. This is Rock Radio UK, and today I'm speaking to Stone Angels. Hello, guys.
Hello, thank
Hello.
you very much for having us.
Oh, that's quite all right. Quite all right. You're looking well. You're looking happy. You're looking very relaxed.
Yeah, I guess we're home, had a glass of wine, so all good.
Shocking, shocking. It's a
That's
Thursday night. It's a school night. You can't have wine on a school night.
You can when you don't have kids.
yeah, that's it. The beauty of not having kids, yeah, and a day off gigging as well, as we were all the way up to Winchester yesterday to play with Jack J Hutchinson.
Yes. How did that go?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a
great.
lot of fun. It's the first time playing in Winchester, and Railway Inn was a lovely venue, and it was a great crowd. And yeah, as I'm sure you know, Jack is a phenomenal musician, so he always puts on a good show himself.
Yeah, yeah. He likes to be fairly humble about that as well.
Oh, the amount of times he's stage diving into the crowd.
Have you got any more dates planned coming up soon where we could catch you?
Yes. So we've actually our next gig is tomorrow night. So
Right.
we're playing in the Water Bear venue in Brighton. We're supporting the comedian Pete K. Melly. Uh,
Yes,
and
yes.
and we've also got Slider Smith from the Oblivion Kids is opening up the evening as well. So we're technically the headliner, but it's his show. It's kind of a weird one.
Pete is a weird one, I've got to say. He's actually just he's joining us, well, virtually tomorrow. It's a pre-recorded on our radio station. He's got his own show at, let me check the time, at 5 o'clock.
Oh,
So,
awesome.
yeah, you can rib him about it later and you can ask him about it.
That's it.
I will do.
Anyway, we're not talking about Pete. We're not talking about our radio station. We're talking about you guys. You've got a new album on the way.
That is
Please do
correct.
tell.
Yeah, so the long-awaited sophomore album by Stone Angels, Up in Smoke, is out on the 22nd of March.
Right.
And yeah, we're quite excited by it.
Yeah, very excited.
Yeah, it's a banging album, I've got to say. Where do I start? I mean, Where the Crows Fly is quite an opener.
Oh, thank you. That's exactly what we were trying to do is, hit hard on the first
Yeah,
one. Like when the drums kick in, we wanted people to t be taken aback by how big the overall sound of the album is.
yeah,
We were very fortunate that our paths crossed with Mike Krompass during the pandemic, who he came on to be the producer of the album, and he's a multi-platinum dude, and he basically took a pub band and made us sound like a stadium band, which is phenomenal.
pub band. Now that's a no. You're putting yourself down. You're being humble there. I mean, you've done pretty well for yourself so far. Um, I mean, to for this album though, it's really really good. I mean, I'm trying to think. There's no song on there I don't really like. I mean, I love The Gambler. I love Hold On. But then you change it completely with Up in Smoke. Tell me about that song there. I think there's a story behind that.
Yes, so back in 2019, in November 7th, my home caught on fire while I was inside.
Hmm.
It was probably the one of, if not the worst days of my life, not surprisingly.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was quickly followed by the pandemic, because we didn't know that that was on the horizon as well. So it was a very, very stressful time for me, as the pandemic was for a lot of people, but it had the extra added kind of stress, trauma, I guess is the best way to describe it, of the house fire, just
Mm.
being being in a safe space and seeing it kind of ripped away from you is quite a hard thing that I would never wish on anyone. And so I guess one of the blessings of the pandemic was that everyone instantly found that they had lots of time on their hand. So I kind of used that period to actually write the title track Up in Smoke, and it's kind of serves as my kind of own form of therapy, really.
Right.
I probably should have gone to see a psychiatrist or something or a therapist, but I tried to channel it in the most constructive way that I knew how, rather than drown my sorrows at a bottom of the bottle, which I did at the time. I felt it was better to, rather than bottling it all up, just to actually kind of get out and do it. And it was a big challenge for me, not only just writing the song, but because I'm not the lead singer of the band, but I take the lead vocals on that track. It's
Right.
just it like Niall's by far a better singer than I am, but it was quite therapeutic because I tried to well, I basically got to shout at a microphone for for a few hours, which when recording the vocals, and that was just a great way to just kind of almost relieve that burden off the chest. But one of the things I learned from this experience as well is that one of the big factors in helping me kind of get through it all was, just being able to open up and the help of family and friends, my wife and the band, kind of really kind of put everything into perspective.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it's probably the rawest song on the album, I would say. Just and yes, but it was also I'm very glad that I didn't shy away from the challenge of putting it to pen to paper.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's quite a hard hitting song, even though it's not so in your face, shall we say?
Yeah, so the an interesting story because it's the first time that we put any kind of acoustic guitar on any of our tracks that we've ever recorded, and that so the fire itself actually happened in the loft. So we were
Right.
having a boiler changed, and the gas engineer forgot to isolate the gas valves properly before setting the roof on fire. So my wife has a lovely Yamaha acoustic, which was actually in a cardboard box in the loft. The whole loft went up in flames. And this was the only thing that came out of the loft unscathed. So it was a
Wow.
flammable object inside a flammable box, and it was just completely untouched. So I took it as a sign that I had to write the song on that guitar as well.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's why, again, yeah, while it's maybe not as electric or hard rock as the other tracks on the album, it's still quite a powerful piece of music.
Mm. What about you, sir? I mean, how do you feel about the song?
Yeah, it's a great song. First of all, foremost, and it works, I think, really well as a title track. And for me, with joining the band during the pandemic in 2019, being the latest member of the band and stuff, I wasn't necessarily involved in the writing process, but I've been involved throughout the production process of getting this album out. And Up in Smoke, I think is great, especially around the time of the pandemic. All of us were going through a lot of adversity, and another one of our tracks that highlights that is Western Dream on the album as well. Which highlights like how much of an unprecedented time we've been in as like just being humans. Like
Yeah.
so it's nice to have some songs that reflect what's going on in the real world, but also still bringing the party with songs like Supercharged and stuff. So yeah, like it means a lot to have. Yeah, you got to have the dark with the light, basically. Like,
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Halfway to Nowhere is probably my favorite track on the album.
Cool.
I, I, I suppose it's got that epicness about it, isn't it?
Yeah, so I kind of when kind of the first thing that came about with that song was the opening guitar riff, and
Hmm.
it was just a nice jangly kind of arpeggio style structure that really created this sense of space that I really wanted to, just like you're on a desert plain. And so it reminded me a lot of Bon Jovi's Wanted Dead or Alive, but
Yes.
then in the chorus, it feels like it's Led Zeppelin's Kashmir. So it's kind of like just taking those. That's how I see it anyway. Obviously, everyone will see it how they want to see it, but that's kind of how I just took, to me personally, two very epic tracks and trying to kind of shoehorn them together.
Okay. I mean, you mentioned Supercharger as well. I mean, that's not supercharged, I should say. Um, that is a real ballsy in your face track as well. Western Dreams, love it. Ghost of New York. Tell me about that one.
So that one, it's completely fictitious. I again, writing, trying to write a song in certain respects is like trying to write a book.
Hmm.
Just inspiration comes out of nowhere, and I can't remember what program I might have been watching, but it was some generic thing said in New York, and they had a moment where the lovers quarrel, where they fell out of love, and it was almost like a montage sequence of them kind of traipsing around and feeling kind of out of place to where they used to feel familiar.
Yeah.
And so it's there to me, I saw it as like, being haunted by the memories of who you were as being part of that kind of couple. So I kind of that's how I came up with the idea of kind of Ghost of New York. And yeah, no, I just wanted to try and create a haunting piece of music, really.
Okay. Okay. So if you were to choose a track each, which would you pick? I mean, where do you think Stone Angels are right now for each of you? Which one would highlight?
Well, I would say hold on, mainly for the music video. That was probably one of the most fun things I've had experience taking part in. Using the green screen for it and stuff was super fun. And I don't know, I feel like it just shows the ballsy nature and a bit of sort of a tongue-in-cheek nature of the band. And also, the lyrics and the chorus as well, very much about just, trying to take other opinions if you're hard set in something. And yeah, it's just a great track as well. Like the guitar solo, a testament to James, is a great solo as well. So yeah, love it.
Um,
That's the current single, I believe, as well.
no, so our current single is Over the Edge. Hold
Right.
On was the previous one just before
Yes.
that, and Over the Edge has just been out for the last couple of weeks, so you
Mhm.
can be forgiven there. But yeah, no, for me personally, I would probably actually have to go with Where the Crow Flies because I just felt like I knew, like the band knew that that was going to be the first single just because it's sort of such a impactful when the drums kick in and
Yeah.
everything. And just because it has been more years than we wished between the first album and this one,
Mm.
wanted to make sure that we were kind of really kind of re-announcing ourselves back onto the live scene with it all. Just showing that we're not done and dusted.
I mean, some people may say like a long gap between records is not a bad thing because you can not so much reinvent yourself, but you could be yourselves who you are so many years apart. Do you think?
Yeah, and I think one of the main goals that I had, or well, Niall and I and Loz had when we originally started cutting the demos, so before Sam was in the band, was that because because it had been a fair amount of time, we really wanted to challenge ourselves that we weren't going to be bringing out the first album again.
Mm.
We wanted to like AC/DC are my favorite band of all time, but it's a bit of a running joke that they bring out the same album time and time again. Um, but I just wanted to make sure that there was it was worth the wait. So
Mm.
we weren't just going to be recycling or rehashing the same product. We just wanted to make sure that we were showing that we have evolved as musicians. And definitely compared to the first record, we incorporated a lot more kind of additional kind of influences that you wouldn't necessarily expect from a hard rock band. So I was doing a bit of slide guitar. I learned how to do that for the record. We had string arrangements on Halfway to Nowhere as well as Ghost of New York. So
Mm.
these are things that just weren't apparent or weren't there on the first record. And so yeah, it was a fun process, really trying to, as you say, reinvent yourself. But again, I feel like we have the core sound in
Mm.
in both records that ties the band together.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like one of my favorite bands is Clutch, and I feel like they always do a different album each time, but it always sounds like Clutch.
Yes.
And so that's kind of a school of thought that I like to try and kind of emulate.
Yeah. So Sam, what are your influences onto this album?
So my I wide influences for me. Like I love Alter Bridge, Foo Fighters. They're big influences for me in the rock elements.
Yeah.
But I also take a lot of influence from a lot of metal bands, like Bullet for My Valentine, Slipknot, and stuff. And that's always it helps me bring that heavier aspect of it to the music. I think, especially live and stuff, and um, especially when me and James both on stage. Niall has to stay quite still because he needs to be near the microphone, but me and James like to move around as much as possible and get the crowd going as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can just imagine. Um, so we broached the subject of live gigs that are upcoming now. I mean, what are the plans now in the future? I mean, the album comes out, was it 22nd of March?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
just over a month away. So we are currently in the works of hopefully getting a small UK tour in place.
Hmm.
Hopefully, around about the middle of the year. We're looking forward to playing Station 18 Festival as well in Wales.
Yep.
So looking, we're on the Sunday. We're playing alongside so many great bands, which are including Skinny Knowledge, South of Salem, and a host of others. We also, there's a few other things that we can't quite release just yet, but they are there
Nobody
are
listens. It's fine. It's fine. You can say what you like. It'll be fine.
yeah, so well, just for the sake of not annoying any promoters or anything like that, I have to
Damn
just
it.
keep
Watch
quiet.
this
But,
space.
yeah, so just keep half an eye on our socials, and you'll see everything in due course.
We cannot confirm nor deny anything else. No.
But long story short, we hope that 2024 will see us play the most gigs that we've ever played in one year as a band. So, and hopefully then by the time of 2025, we'll be looking at even beginning work on album number three.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So where can people pre-order your album?
So the best place to do that is our website, which, if I get this correct, is stone-angels.com.
Hmm.
And so you can pre-order it on CD or vinyl. So yeah, this is quite exciting because it's the first time we're doing anything to vinyl as well.
Right.
But also we're doing a bit of a unique approach to the release strategy. So while the physical album's coming out in March, we're still going to be releasing each song off the album as a standalone single on Spotify and other streaming platforms through the remainder of the year.
Okay.
This way, the reason behind this is that we feel that rock is one of those genres that still kind of has its foot in both the physical as well as the streaming side.
Yeah.
And as an independent band, it's quite expensive for us to put a record out. So we've got to look at ways how we're going to really get the best bang for our buck.
Mm.
And Spotify have come out and said, if you want to grow on the platform, you have to have a steady flow of music. So this way, those who don't want to wait a year for the whole album to come out can buy a physical from us from March,
Yeah.
or pre-order it now. And then those who want us to stream, which is fine by us, we can continue to develop and reach a wider audience on streaming platforms this way because as I'm sure you've heard these figures now, that Spotify are reporting like 120,000 songs every day are uploaded to its servers.
Yeah.
It's very easy for an artist to have their music become old very quickly. As soon as you
Mm.
put the whole album out, it becomes old.
Yeah.
So this way, by drip feeding it, we can we can just tease the audience enough to keep them interested for a longer period.
Yeah. No, music's become a very perishable um subject now.
Hmm.
The lifespan, like you say, is very, very short. I mean, this you must have seen this difference between the two albums as well, because it's really, really
Yeah,
changed in what, 3, 4, 5 years?
yeah, no, the thankfully rock I think is still one of the steadfast that has kind of kept its way. But if you look at other genres, and the rise of platforms like TikTok,
Mm.
like I feel like a bit of a dinosaur. Like it's a fake world to me. And but there are people now that write music specifically with the idea of it fitting to a TikTok video, which is just I don't find that an inspirational way of writing music.
No,
And
no.
I, I, I hate having to try and do a radio edit of a track. I feel like it's cutting the nose off to spite the face, almost. Whereas, some of the tracks, you know, Leonard Skinner Freebird, for example, you wouldn't want to have that at 3 minutes. You'd rather have, at the very minimum, 5 minute version. But
Mm.
the 9 minute version is the best version.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I'm going to let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of the bottle of wine, obviously. Um, I wish you all the very best for the album because it is a stunning album. It's fast becoming one of my favorites this year. So,
Well, thank you.
well done,
Thank
guys. And
you.
do please give Pete Malley a kick in the ass for me tomorrow night.
I will
I
do. You'll
will
have to
do.
get in line. There's a few people that have asked us to pass on a few words.
Thank you, Stone Angels.
Cheers.